why would you then ask your also virgin best guy friend if you were good at the sex?
This is Whose Creek Is It?
The podcast where two sisters recap and pontificate about the show Dawson's Creek.
I'm Miranda, and I've seen the whole series at least 5 times.
And I'm Allison, and I'm watching this show for the very first time. Let's get started.
All right, so Season 1, Episode 4, titled Discovery. The director is Steve Miner, and the writer is John Harmon Feldman. So, yeah, people discovered some things. Really, it was just Dawson discovering a lot of stuff. Everyone else already kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, it was Dawson discovering things and everyone else just being discovered. Which, like, it was kind of fun to watch Dawson's whole world crash around him.
And I loved, like, when it was crashing, there was, like, electric guitar going.
Oh my god. The aggressive, angsty 90s guitar was so intense. Like, half of my notes are just, guitar.
At some point, I thought they were going to, like, Dutch angle. Where the camera just turns, like, at a weird...
Oh, yeah. That would have made sense. It's just like, yeah, I definitely took note of the music, and I wondered multiple times in this episode, is this what was originally there, or is this what they had to come up with when they didn't have the license for streaming?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Some of the songs sounded like they were original, like, God. So I forget the name of the band. What's it called?
Gin Blossoms?
Yeah, no, it was that band that I don't even know the name of the song, but it's like, I could hide out under there. I just made you say underwear. I don't know the name of that band.
Is that Bare Naked Ladies?
Yes. There was a Bare Naked Ladies song, and I was like, this has got to be original.
Oh, I didn't notice that. It's not one of the 3 Bare Naked Ladies songs I know.
No, it was like one of the lesser ones, I think.
It was a B-side.
Yeah.
Bare Naked Ladies B-sides, the alternate title of this podcast.
So we'll just jump right in once again. And I'm starting to notice this pattern where I'm like, is this every episode where it starts out in Dawson's bedroom? At least in the beginning, like the first season, they're always starting in Dawson's bedroom.
Yeah.
But yes, so we start there. Dawson watching Jen from movie footage that he has been compiling. And I don't know, just fawning for her again. And Joey is being real mean, making generalizations about, like, Jen's future. Like, oh yeah, she'll be married to some finance guy and have 3 kids, and I don't know. Just being mean. Catty.
Yeah, I felt like it was... She was being kind of mean and catty, but I feel like she was... I don't know, maybe that's meaner to say that you're gonna have a pedestrian life with a finance bro. But it wasn't like, oh, she's gonna, like, die in an alley full of regret. I don't know, you can die in a mansion full of regret, but it was a little, like, to be fair to Joey, Dawson was just... He doesn't seem to have the concept that if he has a crush or has feelings for someone, everyone else doesn't feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he probably... You know how when you show someone a song or a show or a movie, and you have that, like, tension of, like, oh god, I hope they like it. I hope they like it. It's like Dawson has none of that. He's no, this is great. I know it's great. No one could possibly think it's not great. So, it's... I don't know. It felt... You started it, Dawson. But she was being kind of mean.
And it's brought up that Dawson needs to get a gift for his parents, which are celebrating their 20th anniversary. Meanwhile, Joey's just like, uh-huh.
Yeah, that sounds like a real conundrum you got there with your 2-parent home.
Yeah, but also just her, yes, I don't know anything that would affect the fact that they're having an anniversary and celebrating it.
Yes, they seem happy and uncomplicated.
And while they're discussing Dawson's non-eventful love life for the most part, and
Mm-hmm.
his parents, who seem very much in love, they stumble upon footage of a woman being ravished by somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't tell right away who it was, but then
Yeah.
at the same time, they both in unison say, Miss Jacobs.
Yeah, and the thing as it was starting, as that scene was starting up, I know they mentioned she was like, "Oh, are you having a Russ Meyer phase?" And I was like, "I gotta look that up after." And so I just to Dawson, so I looked it up, and it was like, "Oh, Russ Meyer from Wikipedia. He was primarily known for writing and directing a successful series of sexploitation films featuring campy humor, sly satire, and large-breasted women. Most notably, Faster Pussycat Kill Kill."
Hmm.
So,
Thank you for doing some homework there.
I worked really hard. I had to type several words into Google. But yeah, they come to realize, oh, that's Ms. Jacobs.
Yep, that's how we start this episode. The next scene after the intro song is the ice house where Joey, Pacey, Dawson, and Jen, all four of them, are talking about this tape. And it becomes clear that Joey and Dawson do not know who the man is, that they just saw Miss Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, Pacey's really shaken by this
Yeah.
discovery of this tape, but seems to be relieved when they can't tell who the guy is. I forget what Joey says. Brown hair and throbbing neck muscles or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, from that scene, we deduce like Pacey's like trying to get a hold of this tape. He's like, I need to see that tape. And they think that he just is like
A perv.
being creepy and obsessive. Yeah.
Yeah. More just like, no, well, if I can't have her, I want to watch someone else have sex with her. It's like, somehow it's creepier than just him having sex with a teacher. His obsession with the tape.
Yeah, it might have been easier if he had just like been straightforward and said, hey, I need that tape because I'm in that tape.
Yeah, and this was an era, this would have been 1998, right?
Oh, crap. I totally forgot to write down the date this episode was released, but yes, it was still in 1998. Yeah.
Yeah. So this would have been, by now there was, I'm sure, some exploitative sex videos, being created and used and bought and sold around celebrities and probably used to ruin teen girls' life, but it wasn't as accessible as it is now. This would still be relatively novel, I think.
Yeah. People literally having to pass physical tapes to each other.
Yeah, and it wasn't even it was like, I don't even know what it's called, the little MIDI tape that goes in the video camera.
Yeah, like a cassette tape. So next, we see Dawson walking with Jen towards Jen's house and talking about Pacey exaggerating his sexual experience and that it's not really true. Which also, I was thinking, maybe we should introduce in this podcast, like, a little segment called Miranda Learns a New Word.
Great! Vocabulary!
Yeah, because I, like, they say words and I'm like, I can guess what that means, but I have never really heard it used. And Dawson said, like, his whole sexual experience is a bluster, which I'm like, what does that mean? So I will Google what bluster means now.
Yeah, it's not, I haven't heard that. I've heard the word bluster, but I don't think I've heard it used in that way.
Yeah, let's see. Loud, aggressive, or indignant talk with little effect. Yep, that seems to be the thing. But Miranda learns a new word. Bluster. I'm just
Okay,
workshopping
definitely gonna
something.
sample that. No, we're sampling that and making a jingle. Miranda learns a new word, and then you say the word. It's all happening in real time over here.
So in that scene, Dawson wants to kiss Jen in front of her house, but we see Grams peeking through the window, just being like, what are these kids up to? I don't trust this boy, And So she's like, oh, we probably shouldn't kiss or anything, that repressing desire can only make it more powerful. And she walks away and then runs back and says, screw it, and just starts like making out, capital M, making out with Dawson in front of her grandma, like to upset
Yeah.
her almost. It's like really icky.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I wouldn't choose to do that, but we also saw our grandmother a handful of times in our entire lives, so.
Yeah, and we weren't trying to piss her off when we were around her.
No, yeah, I don't know. Do what you gotta do, Jen.
So yeah, after that, Jen goes inside where Grams gives her a hard time about her relationship with Dawson. And Jen says, oh, it's only a kiss, but she also admits that, like, there's real feelings there with Dawson. It's not just some kind of flingy thing, at least from what she believes.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it seems like that might be the first time that Jen like kind of directly addresses that, like, yeah, I'm sure there's some sexual tension there between Dawson and Joey just because they've been friends forever. And that was, I mean, I'm sure she was aware, but I think that was the first time that she kind of like laid it out and said it, like, yeah, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
To her grandmother.
Yeah. Yeah, who probably didn't need that detail, but
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see more of that Jen's awareness of Joey's feelings towards Dawson
Mm-hmm.
later on in this episode. So next we see Mitch teasing Gail about not remembering a scar under his chin, and Dawson
Yeah.
comes in and is like, oh yeah, you got that from something. I don't know.
Something. Falling on something or
Yeah.
something or other.
And kind of turns into this cute moment where Mitch is like, oh, see, you can't remember this stuff, but our son does. And Gail like lays a big kiss on him, and he's also mentions like, maybe you should start coming home sooner, like you're out really late.
That's the line I wrote down. Like, maybe you should start coming home early. And like the look on his face, I was like, oh, we have entered the realm of passive aggressive.
Yeah.
We have arrived. Mitch started out being like real subtle, like, oh, you're very busy. And now he's like, but what if you came home? And I was like, oh, Mitch is starting to, it's wearing on him.
Hmm. He's becoming aware that his wife is being more distant than she used to be.
Yeah. Also, does she just have amnesia and not able to? Because that's the second instance where you don't remember the thing. Like, I know that it was kind of a back and forth on the first date in the previous episode of, do you remember? Or no, it was the first kiss. And then this is, you don't remember the scar. I was like, lady, do you just wipe your memory of anything having to do with your husband? I don't know.
Yeah, it's it's strange. Like, I guess it's a sign to show that like he's not at the forefront of her thoughts, but it's like usually you can just remember things.
Usually. Like, I almost wish that the writers had kind of thought of something else to sort of show that she wasn't thinking of him, as
Mhm.
opposed to just, and she forgot this. But gotta do what you gotta do to set up the dynamic.
Yeah. So next we see Dawson going into his bedroom to find Pacey digging through tapes in his room.
Yeah,
Yes.
feverishly.
And Dawson's response is like, God, do you really need this tape that badly? And as he goes to hand him the tape, he pulls out a book that's been carved out with the tape inside, which I was like,
Yeah.
Dawson, what are you doing with like a carved out book?
Yeah, like, did he carve out the book specifically for this tape? Did he, like, carve out the book for, like, secrets? Because I could see being, like, a kid and being like, ooh, this is... when you're a kid, you like to have secrets and secret hiding spots. And it was like, is this specifically for the accidental sex tape? Or is this just an existing secret box in a book?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like kind of surprising from Dawson. I'm like, he's not holding drugs,
Yeah. Yeah, another thing I noticed, that, and this is a tangent, is that he has a giant telescope. And in, like, the 90s, everyone had a telescope. It just, on TV, it just seemed like every kid had a telescope. Was that true? I don't think I knew anyone with a telescope.
Yeah, I didn't know anyone with a telescope either. And it looks like a nice one, too.
It did,
Maybe
yeah.
it's like a thing that set dressers use as an example of like, he's a dreamer.
Yeah, yeah. Here on Whose Creek Is It? We get into the symbolic significance and representation of telescopes in 90s television.
So, yeah, Pacey says he's aware of the vibe he gives off where, you know, he's like, I'm always the guy who tries to get the girl, not the guy who gets the girl. And
Which I haven't seen him try to get a girl other than
yeah,
a teacher.
yeah. But I think
But
it's
yeah, that is how he sees himself.
playing into this like, oh, I'm a loser kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tells Dawson, well, I got the girl this time. and Dawson's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what girl?
And then he reveals that he is the one who is in that tape sleeping with Miss Jacobs.
With the throbbing neck muscles.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the scene and I was just expecting a bit more reaction from Dawson.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, it seems like if something doesn't affect him personally, he's not that, like, shooken by it.
Yeah, he's like the guy I talked to a few months ago around the election who's like, oh, isn't it just like a really interesting, exciting time to be alive? And I was like, no, it's not. But as a middle-class white man, you might feel that way.
Yeah, someone said something similar to me about how exciting of a time it is right now. And I'm like, exciting gives off a vibe of positivity. And that's not what I'm feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, the people who think things really can't get that bad or will never really affect me.
So one thing that Pacey says when he gets this tape from Dawson is he can think of about 40 ways how this tape could ruin my life. And I'm like,
yeah.
Dude, no, this would ruin Miss Jacobs' life. Your life, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kids would make fun of you, maybe.
Or, yeah, it depends. You'd probably maybe get some people making fun of you. You'd have to go to the school counselor. To be clear, I mean, it's very self-centered teenager of like, this would ruin my life. And it's like, no, it would ruin hers, as it should, because she fucked a child.
Allison wants to establish that we are very anti-pedophilia. She's worried that we did not establish that well enough in previous episodes, so just to set the record straight.
Yeah, we think it's wrong for grown women to sleep with 15-year-old boys. Just throwing that out there. You never know how the internet's going to take anything. So we just want to establish that.
So in this same scene, Pacey starts to go into asking Dawson, like, how he performed.
I have it written down.
Do you want to say it?
It was, performance-wise, did I cut it, man? I guess I get the insecurity. He also says something like, no one's first time should be on film. But why would you then ask your also virgin best guy friend if you were good at the sex? To his credit, I don't think Dawson comes up with anything sassy. He just says,
Yeah, he said, yeah, you did fine, man. What a nice, cute bro moment.
Yeah, that was a nice moment of Dawson just being like, either shocked into acting normal or recognizing that his friend was vulnerable enough that now is not the time for your sass, sir.
But this was like, I feel like the first scene we see of Dawson and Pacey really showing their friendship and like how they can be real with each other and kind to each other. Like we haven't really seen them interact one-on-one too much other than talking about women and trying to obtain them.
Yeah. And that's the thing that comes up later in a discussion between Dawson and Jen that I'm sure we'll get to. Those sort of like real talk.
The next scene we see is Dawson and Joey looking at gifts, something to get for Dawson's parents' anniversary. And they come across Dawson's mom fitting her co-anchor Bob in some sports coats.
Yeah, which seems to be in the same store as like
Yeah.
home decor. Yeah, there's more on this later, but yeah, the amount to which these two having an affair are just
Yeah.
out in public is audacious.
Yeah, that was the thing I wrote down is like, does everyone in town know about them?
And that gets brought up.
So Bob finally meets Dawson, and it is really creepy how like calm he is about the whole thing. Like he's trying out for being stepdad or something.
Oh my god, yeah. If I were a middle-aged news anchor man sleeping with my co-anchor who was married and had a teenage son and I met that teenage son, I feel like I'd be a little nervous.
I wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'd love to see your movie that you're working on," and yeah, if you need any like help, let me know. Like, it's just so weird. Like have some sense of that's her life and I'm not in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Joey the whole time she just seemed very uncomfortable by the whole thing.
Yeah. Uh just the audacity.
So next we see Grams and Jen having a conversation in the kitchen again, just basically a continuation of their last conversation. Grams saying that that boy only wants one thing, and Jen acknowledging that they have feelings for each other, and that's basically it. It's just Grams being concerned and like, here we go again. You're falling into your old habits from New York, and Jen's like, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, we'll get to that further when she discusses it with Dawson. But there is this, I can't tell if it's just generalized worry or if it's judgment or I don't know. It's that issue of when you don't speak plainly about things, it's hard to tell how people feel.
Yeah, so we'll next see Pacey coming up to Tamara at a cafe, and Pacey goes on to complain about how school books portray sex as a cautionary tale, but they never have like books about how sex is great and can work out fine.
Yeah, he says this boy who has had sex one time goes, well, it's not real sex. It's like, oh, like how is she keeping a? I mean, because she is also not well. She is not a well woman. That is how she is keeping a straight face. Like, no reasonable adult would listen to this 15-year-old say, well, that's not real sex, and not laugh him down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, so she keeps, I don't know, like she sounds almost hopeful when he says like everything can work out fine. And then he goes to grab her hand and she looks around and pulls her hand away. And then it closes up on
Yeah.
Pacey's face to be like, maybe the sex we had isn't gonna be fine, which is like, of course it's not.
Of course it's not. Well, yeah, and it came out like, wait, do you think she doesn't like you, or do you just genuinely not get that she can't be seen with
Yeah,
you?
it seems
Like,
later down the line in this episode he thought it was because she was like having a situationship with another guy, which we'll get to. But
yeah.
it's like, no, dude,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty obvious that you were in a very public place and there can be no sign. Like,
Yeah.
even you two being next to each other outside of school is suspicious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why doesn't she tell him to stop calling her Tamara? That is not. He is just waving a big red flag in front of everyone. And this is the episode where she like just fully goes off the rails and is like just seems to have no reservations. And it was like, okay, you're gone.
Next, we see Dawson showing Jen a rough cut of the scene where she's like getting attacked by the sea monster thing and she screams. And they talk about how they're gonna redub it because it's not a convincing scream or whatever. Really, I think it's just an excuse for them to be in Dawson's room where they sit on Dawson's bed. And Dawson has like this long thing where he talks about how in old movies when two people were in a bed together, someone had to keep their foot on the floor to avoid censorship of it, and that he always thought that if you're creative enough, you could do a lot with one foot on the floor.
Yeah, it is interesting to sort of. I mean, there is definitely a parallel there between sort of the censorship of movies and film and the sort of. And Dawson's. All the censorship and the, like, don't touch, don't do this, and it inevitably makes you, like, think and focus on those things. And just seems to align with Dawson being like, it's not about sex, it's not about sex. But we could do a lot of things with one foot on the floor. I loved, as someone who has shared creative work and is also thoroughly annoyed by people sharing creative work, having been on both ends, it was funny to watch him go, so I'm going to show you this cut, but, like, be brutally, terribly honest, but your opinion really, really matters to me, and I'm going to be really, really hurt. It's like, be so honest, but, like, don't ruin my
Be
heart.
so honest, and it totally won't bother me, but really it'll tear me apart.
Which is, like, it's fun to laugh at, but that is also what it feels like. You're like, I want to see the flaws and become a better artist, but it hurts so bad when someone criticizes it.
So after that talk about doing a lot of things with one foot on the floor, Dawson goes in to kiss Jen, and it starts to get a little deeper. He tries to lay her down, and Jen's like, no, let's take our time.
Yeah, I remember, and I don't know if it was really that long of a shot, but it felt like a long shot of them kissing, and it just made me think about the awkwardness of filming that. Like, it's one thing to, like, film a, like, 2-second, like, in for the kiss moment, but I feel like filming, like, up to 10 seconds of kissing, then you inevitably will become aware that, like, there's just a room full of people watching two people who aren't in a relationship or necessarily attracted to each other kiss, and it would just make you very, very aware and sounds very surreal.
I also always think about, like, these shows that are, granted, I forget my notes. I think they both 18 at the time that they were filming this, so, like, adults, but you can imagine all the people working behind the camera are much older, and, like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what every 18-year-old wants? To make out in front of a bunch of middle-aged strangers.
So next we go to the news studio where Jen is doing ADR, like, overdubbing of her screaming with Dawson, and just some guy who works at the studio who has nothing better to do than to help this teenager, like, work on his movie.
Yeah, or I assume that, like, that's just sort of, that's where he works, that's his domain, but yeah, clearly he doesn't have anything else he needs to be doing right then. He's just like, yeah, I'll watch this teenage girl scream badly. Why not?
So yeah, they eventually take a break and they go out into the hall, and so they're kind of flirting, and then Jen says, oh, hey, there's your mom, and it points to down the hall where her mom walks out of a doorway, and then Bob walks out of that doorway and just lays a huge kiss on her.
At work. In the hall. In the hall at work. Where everyone knows you have a husband and child. A child who's there.
Yeah.
Girl.
It's crazy. And then that's when we hear the
yeah. Yeah, that's when I just wrote down in brackets, rock music. Just like, his whole world's falling apart. We need a big riff.
Yeah, and then Dawson and Jen go sit on a bench by the dock, because, that's where introspection occurs.
Yeah, and he just looks like he has seen the face of God. He doesn't know what to do.
And Jen is talking to him while he looks dead inside. But she's saying, I know we haven't really had serious discussions, and we've always had banter, but we've never had real talk, and I would really be honored if, like, you would share how you feel with me right now. And Dawson doesn't say a thing. And next we cut to him immediately going to Joey.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, yep, that, oof. Yeah, and they come back to the real talk conversation with Jen later, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's complaining about their innocent seeming town and like how long has this been going on and does everyone know and Joey's like people always know and he's like well we didn't know and then she's like
Wow, that's a lovely telescope.
yeah he realizes that she has known and doesn't understand why she didn't tell him, which honestly I feel like maybe she should have told him when they ran into Gail and Bob at the store because it had to be
Yeah.
coming soon. But yes, her excuse was that he would have been mad at her if she had been the one to tell him, and blames him for not
Mm-hmm.
noticing because he's been so distracted with Jen.
Yeah, that's
That
yeah. On the one hand, Dawson he is just misdirecting a lot of like anger at her when like she is not really the one at fault. Like, yeah, she probably should have told him, but I see why she didn't. And then but then she's just misdirecting all this like resentment and
mhm.
jealousy of Jen to him being like, "Well, you're too hung up on
Yeah.
her."
Which I was gonna ask, like, would you have told Dawson or would you have waited for things to play out if you were in Joey's shoes?
That's tough. I think today, with like the life experience I have, I would have told either Dawson or Mitch. At like 15, I don't know. I have no idea what I would have done. It's tough because I feel like now I am a much better communicator and much better at delivering news. Yeah, I really don't know what I would have done at 15. I cannot say I would have done anything different than Joey. I mean, it was a nice first step that she was
Mhm.
like, I know. She like put it into the mom's court to be like, hey, I know. Honestly, that was a great kindness to the mom to be like, hey, I know, and here is your opportunity to get yourself together.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you have told Dawson?
I'm not sure. I think, usually when there's like some gossip, I can keep my mouth shut and I don't feel the need to tell people if it doesn't directly affect them, but this really did directly affect him. But I feel like I understand where she's coming from that if she had told him, he probably would not have believed her.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I would have held off until I had some kind of proof.
Yeah. And it's not like you could, like, take a smartphone
Yeah.
video in 1998.
Yeah, I feel like if I was in the same situation, I would have been meaning to tell him, but I wouldn't have gotten there by the time he actually found out.
And maybe this is, a mark of, like, decently good writing is that there is this clear conflict and you see how everyone got there and you also see how they are sort of transplanting emotions from one
Mhm.
conflict to another.
So after that scene, Dawson kind of walks off in a huff and is just like, "Fine, see you later. Have a
Yeah.
nice life." Very dramatic.
Yeah, at first with the see you later, I was like, oh, so they're still friends. Yeah, have a nice life. Those are okay. Also, oh, they were on that like double wide rocking chair, which looked
Well,
lovely.
yeah, I love that everyone has a beachfront house. Such an idyllic location to talk about parents' infidelities.
Yeah, I mean, it just reminds me of like watching like true crime stuff, and they're like in this idyllic little town. I was like, who is surprised by crime and terrible things happening in idyllic little towns? People are people, man. It's like,
Yeah.
who is still surprised by this?
So after that, we see that Pacey sees Tamara and Mr. Gold seeming very friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just shows Pacey being very salty about it. He seems very upset.
And the very like 90s angsty music again.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll have another scene where Pacey once again is just seeing Tamara and Mr. Gold seeming really happy with each other uh, before he finally confronts
Yeah.
her about it. But next is also another short scene where Gail is walking up to Dawson at their outside of their house and can tell something's up with her son. She's like, "Hey, what's going on? I can tell there's something going on." And he just deflects and is not ready to talk about it with his mom.
What, like, if I were her, I would just be scared and
Yeah.
paranoid all the time that someone's gonna find out, that my son is gonna find out. So the fact that, like, there's clearly something wrong with your son, but she just
Hmm.
does not put it together, like, that would be the first
Hmm.
place my brain goes. But so, I don't know. It seems like it would be really nice to be Gail. She seems happy. Seems happy in that dumb little head of hers.
Just unbothered. It's probably not about me.
Yeah, it probably has nothing to do with me.
So next, Dawson goes over to Graham's house to pick up Jen, and he has a little conversation with Grams at the front door, which I think is just a way to establish like these two characters have not talked. They're like, the writers are like, oh yeah, I guess we should have them kind of introduce themselves.
Yeah, and like Dawson does seem the type that would like, my intentions are pure and I'm gonna go up and tell her.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not some sex crazed teen, and he's like, also, I'm here to pick up Jen, and Grams just rolls her eyes and is like, yeah, I'll go get her. So basically, Dawson went and sought Joey to have a real conversation with, but then Joey betrayed him. So now he's back to Jen. And now doesn't only want to talk about his parents' infidelity, but wants to talk about how Joey like let him down and was lying to him.
Yeah. I was just gonna say something. A line that stuck out to me was like, "Am I boring you? I'm starting to bore myself." And I guess this is the episode where Allison identifies with Dawson because, like, I feel that is like I feel bad about sort of. I know this is what like friends and emotional support is for, but like I feel bad bringing like problems or things I'm worried about to people, and especially if it's like something that's been going on or that I've complained about before, and I'm just like, I'm bored with listening to me. You must be so bored. I am sorry. I'm sorry to me that I have to listen to this, and I'm sorry to you that you have to listen to this. I am bored. So I could definitely identify with that.
Yeah, I have the same feeling of like, I want to be able to let this thing go, but I can't let it go yet, and I need to talk to other people to help me move through it. But also, I'm sure you're sick of me talking about this.
Yeah.
So, Dawson's just upset with how everyone in his life right now seems like they're not being honest, and he asks her to always be honest, and that he really wants them to have a chance. And so you can tell that Jen is like on a precipice of like, do I tell him what's going on with me right now?
Yeah.
And she decides to do it. So the discussion turns more towards her and Dawson, where she explains, the reason she's in town is not because her grandfather is sick, but because she was a cliche of New York teenagers. And says a couple things like hanging out with the wrong people, staying out late, having sex too early. And Dawson's like, but not the sex, right?
but you're not a virgin? Yeah, and then he like they allude. I feel like he alludes to her like having said she was a virgin, but I don't remember that.
So it was brought up. So episode 1, when they're walking to the movie theater and Joey is like just throwing questions at Jen because she's pissed off, and she's like, so are you size queen? Like, she said all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then Jen said something of like, oh no, I'm a virgin. Like, so she did lie about it.
Okay.
Kind of in a defensive space against Joey.
Yeah, that wasn't
like a serious heartfelt discussion just one-on-one with Dawson,
Yeah, that was like, this is uncomfortable and I just want to get through this.
Yeah. So, yeah, Dawson asks like, but the sex part? And she's like, yeah, no, I was doing that. And he was like, but just with a boyfriend. And she was like, well, with him and others.
Yeah.
And Dawson's like body language just completely changes. He starts crossing his arms,
Yeah.
looking away, gets really quiet.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely noticeable, but it wasn't like over the top. So it was a pretty good thought it was a pretty good representation of like when you're saying one thing and your body is screaming the opposite.
Hmm. Yeah, he didn't make a big scene or anything. He just, you could tell he was internally upset about once again, it for me his body language read like, is just everything in my life a lie?
I didn't even go that far. I was thinking it was just resentment of her, but yeah, I see how it's like that is more generalized. And the heartbreaking part for me is that they're walking and she goes, "Would you hold my hand?" And he's like got his arms crossed and he goes, "Sure." And then there's a guitar riff. It's like, "Oh, would you hold my hand after I was vulnerable with you?" "Sure."
Yeah. So next we see, I think at school, Pacey once again sees Tamara and Mr. Gold having like a cute little moment, and he's upset about that. And so we're working towards that confrontation. But we also
Mm-hmm.
see Dawson in the hall. Jen comes up to him and is like, "Hey, do you want to go do this thing after school?" And he's like, "No, actually, probably busy." And, "Oh, well, what if we did this?" And he's like, "No." And, "Oh, well, you'll call me, right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll call." And it's just very clear that he's avoiding her and is just not wanting to deal with what's going on with their dynamic right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's trying to make her feel like trash, but he definitely is.
Oh yeah.
So next, Pacey does confront Miss Jacobs and is like, "Well, is it him or is it me? Like you're with this guy all the time." And then she tells him that Mr. Gold is gay, which he like exclaims. It's like, "Mr.
Yeah,
Gold is gay?"
big screams. Oh my god.
But
Yeah, which
I thought it was irresponsible of her to out this teacher.
you're right. That is yeah.
Like, I mean, I know you're putting a lot of trust in this kid for not going and telling people that you guys have a sexual relationship, but like also now you're trusting that this kid isn't going to go around telling people that this teacher's gay.
Yeah, like today that's still irresponsible.
Yeah.
Like you just yeah, I didn't even like I think I was so caught up in Pacey just like yelling it like a 5-year-old that I was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's a a whole separate track of irresponsible."
In the end, from that scene, it seems like Pacey is like relieved and is like, "Oh, everything's fine again," because I thought our relationship was in trouble because I had competition, but now I don't, so everything's fine.
Yeah, and he says something like says something and she's like, "What's happening between us?" I was like, "Have you actually lost your mind, woman? Have you gone fully bonkers? What's happening between us?"
She's trying to make sense of it. It's like, oh, it's pretty cut and dry.
Get in the car and drive away and never talk to a child again.
So next we see, I think it was Jen and Dawson in the hall again, and Jen confronts Dawson. It was very straightforward about,
Yeah.
"I think you're avoiding me. I think I'm a disappointment to you. That now that you know my past, you don't want anything to do with me."
Yeah.
And she doesn't really give him a chance to say anything. Not that he really seems like he wants to say anything. He's just kind of quiet and is like, "You're not wrong." you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And you know what? He's the one who's demanded that he wanted honesty and direct communication. So here you go, man.
I mean, coming at a terrible time for him, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah, it's hard for me to know how valid or invalid it is for how Dawson's behaving, because I know back in this time it was very much like a girl's virginity was everything, and she did lie, but also I don't know. Like, you guys didn't really have a serious conversation about this. And I understand he has all these other things going on right now. But at the same time, like, can you just be a little nicer to her? Like, I know you have a lot of stuff going on right
Yeah.
now, but this is like a really big deal for her that she told you the truth and
Yeah.
wants to not be seen how she's always been seen in back when she was in New York. Like, she wants to start anew, but she also wants to be honest about what's happened.
Yeah. And it's tough when someone has like a bunch of other factors in their life that's leading them to not handle the individual situations well. Because on the one hand, you can see how all the other issues that's going on with them can sort of take up brain space and maybe prevent you from being as mature or communicative as you could be. So you have empathy for the sum total of what they're going through, but you also want to make it clear that the way they are handling the situation with you directly is not acceptable and you're not going to put up with
Mm-hmm.
it.
So we next go to Dawson talking with Pacey at Blockbuster where they work about this whole
Mm-hmm.
situation where once again also I'm like, I don't think you're allowed to tell Pacey about Jen's past. Like, this is
Yeah. And also Pacey takes it in a he has a theory that I don't think is
yeah,
accurate.
yeah, I wrote Pacey's view is unhinged.
Yeah, I wrote ellipses, not quite Pacey, ellipses, and then Pacey is now a sexpert. He has had it. He's had the sex, and he is the expert.
Yeah, but so we'll try to explain what his thought process was. He said that she's giving him an
Mm-hmm.
in the way that she's being very vulnerable, and I guess that's a good thing. And he's like, I don't know, he said like something of like she wants it just as bad as you do, and I was like, wait, where did that line of thinking come from? I don't.
Yeah, I think his thought process or what he's trying to express to Dawson is that a girl cannot come out and say, "Yes, I also want to be physical with you. I also want to have sex." She can't necessarily say that, and by expressing that she's like done this before, it sort of like it doesn't invite him in, but it leaves the door cracked, as in like you can come in if you want to. Hey, um, I made a joke. It was not a good one. Don't worry about it. But then also I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but yeah, it was like you are not correct, Pacey.
Yeah. Yeah, Pacey says that Dawson's just scared because Jen is not what he expected, which I think is true.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's clear that he is in love with the idea of
Hmm.
Jen.
Yeah, and then they go through the list of things that have been discovered this episode. They say, the girlfriend's not a virgin. The guy who's usually the loser with girls is sleeping with the teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and the mom's having an affair.
Mm-hmm. And my best friend didn't tell me.
Yeah. So next we see Dawson trying to tell his dad. This is like right before their anniversary dinner,
Yeah.
and the dad's getting ready for it. And he basically chickens out because, the dad's like, we're just so great compared to all of our other friends' relationships. People are going into their second marriages and all this stuff, but I can't imagine my life without her.
I mean, and you wonder how much of that is like how much of is he convincing himself because he's clearly started to notice that
Mhm.
things maybe aren't as great as he thought.
That's true. It's hard to say how much the dad knows and or doesn't know or has a feeling something's off.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Dawson seemed really serious in that scene, and then he's just like, "Oh, never mind. Just have a good night." And the dad just brushes it off. Like, it's like, it seemed like your son was pretty serious about telling you something. Like,
I mean, yeah, it seems like Dawson's whole family is people who think of themselves as evolved and very aware and perceptive, but Dawson lives in his own head. His mom doesn't seem to even entertain the thought that someone knows she's having an affair. And Dad doesn't seem to notice that his son is clearly struggling with something.
Mm-hmm. The next scene we go to is Jen comes to the ice house for Joey's advice, which Joey's like, what am I an expert in? And Jen's like, Dawson Leary.
Yeah.
She's like,
okay.
come on in. I'll sit you down and tell you.
Yeah. And it really did kind of put it all together when she's like, he's a classic only child. He pouts when he doesn't get what he wants.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's sweet how Joey tries to help Jen out here, and she says he's articulate but not mature.
Yeah, it's good that someone sees that.
Yeah, and that he's very into his constructs he has and his view, and that he has like zero sexual experience, which I feel like that whole like portion where Joey is telling Jen about Dawson and like what she knows about him gives a very like he's a virgin who can't drive energy. Like he's kind of a dork, but like he'll come around, it'll work out.
Yeah, her advice essentially is like sit tight and wait.
Yeah. And she also says something of like, I'd probably be stupid enough to wait forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jen is like, well, would you like some company?
Let's both pine for this, for some reason, desirable boy.
Yeah. And then I wrote for that scene, nice bro moment.
Another nice bro moment. Ladies can be bros.
We get to see the boys have a nice deep conversation. We get to see the girls have a nice deep conversation.
Just to touch on that was something that I really noticed about with Dawson and Jen is like she just flat out saying it like, yeah, we have great banter, but we haven't really talked. And like, I don't know, at least for me, like the banter gets you in the door, but if you can't get past that, I'm just like, are you a real person? Like I need, like jokes are fun. I enjoy jokes, but like I need to know that you have had a feeling.
So the next scene is perplexing because it seems that it is Pacey and Tamara at Tamara's place. Like,
yeah, that's what I got, and I just wrote down Pacey is at her house.
Yeah, they just kind of jumped right into it there, where it's like, okay, I guess they're going to her place, and maybe this is post-sex, maybe it's not. Probably not. I don't know. They had their clothes on.
Yeah.
But Pacey is reading a Time magazine, which I was like, I mean, I guess if she doesn't have a TV, there's not a lot to do.
Yeah, and Time was really ubiquitous for a long time.
Yeah. I just don't think Pacey would be the kind of person to read a Time magazine.
No, probably not.
Anyway, he asks Tamara how many guys she's been with.
And then I wrote down, she's answering him? This whole relationship is nuts.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, yeah, that's a reasonable thing for me to tell my 15-year-old boyfriend. /victim. It's weird. It's so weird.
And she's like, oh, well, not a lot of them mattered. And then he's like, well, how many were there that mattered? And she was like, well, there was one in high school, one in college, few, I don't know, whatever. She gives an answer. And then he seems a little saddened because it doesn't sound like she mentioned him at all. But then she's like, and Pacey, the one from high school, wasn't my high school. And
oh my god. Yeah, it took me a minute to get there because I was like trying to like, wait, is she saying she's had an inappropriate relationship with a student before? Or is she saying, oh no, she's talking about him? So that kind of like, thank you for summarizing because I was having trouble kind of wrapping my head around
I
that.
mean, I think that was the intention, because then after that, Pacey's like smiling. He's like, oh, I'm a relationship that matters.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, you are a relationship that matters because it's got legal implications.
Yeah, yeah, this matters.
Next, we see Jen talking to her coma grandpa, uh,
Yeah.
and just straight up says both Grams and Dawson now think I'm a slut.
Which, like, does she have? I wonder what her existing relationship with the grandfather is. Did they just never have a relationship, so now she can just dump on his, yeah, unconscious self?
Yeah.
Or is there something there before? But yeah, basically everyone thinks I'm a slut, Grandpa.
And then she starts spouting some stats on like sex and teenagers and like really seems to have perspective on the fact that in the grand scheme, like no one's going to care that she had sex a year or two earlier than most of the other people her age.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out, is her big crime, the thing that got her out of New York, is just she was having sex? Like, that's it? Like, because I would assume to get you removed from your home and sent away to your grandparents. You know, maybe I'm not average, but I would think, like, oh, maybe she, like, got pregnant or got an STD or like, something bad happened. But no, it's just the fact that it sounds like it's just she was having sex.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out a little more in the next few episodes. I think there's a little more discussed, but yeah, at this point, it feels like the answer they've finally given us about New York is not very convincing or like not strong enough to stand on.
Yeah, which probably is going to bother Dawson even more when it gets more detailed.
Yeah. So next we see Dawson moping at the ruins by himself, and Joey comes up to him and says, "Hanging out with all your friends?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, that's why you aren't invited."
Yeah.
So Joey is basically trying to help both Dawson and Jen out here. She says, "Look, Jen came to me, told me what was up. I told her that you're just having a moment and you're gonna like come back around and like you have time to recover the situation."
Yeah. She's like, FYI, I bought you some time.
Joey's like, "Are you mad at me?" And he's like, "I'm mad at the world."
Yeah, he says nothing is the way it used to be. And on the one hand, like, part of me wants to scoff and be like, yeah, obviously, things change, but I have also, in my adult life, had that thought of, like, things are changing and I don't want them to change. Yeah, this truly is Allison empathizes with Dawson, the episode. Which, I don't feel great about, but...
Yeah, Dawson is talking about how their relationship, his and Joey's relationship, has changed and that they're not getting along like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey's like, "So are we not friends?" And he's like, "I don't know. Are we more? Are we less?" And then they go into this weird discussion where they're like talking about an alternate universe where they've been together for 50 years. And it's like there's a lot of banter, and I've never understood this long drawn out aside of like how happy they would be together if they were together.
Yeah.
It's such a strange thing, and I'm like, okay, what writer just had like a field day writing like a long dialogue about what could be?
On the one hand, it is kind of, like, bizarre, but on the other, it sort of seems like they were... when you're getting a little too honest and a little too sincere and a little too vulnerable, so you have to, like, pull back or take a side road into, like, a theoretic or, like, in a previous life, and then you kind of can fall back into the comfort of banter, and they're kind of playing off each other. So I sort of saw it as, like, we started, like, really being vulnerable and talking seriously to each other, and, like, we took a few steps, but it got too uncomfortable, so we reverted back to something more comfortable, but still kind of tangential to the real talk that was happening. But yeah, it was a strange and long discussion.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, the conversation ends weird. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, Joey says, "Did we save each other that night, Dawson, in their theoretical world?"
Yeah.
I don't know. She gets up to leave, and she says, in reference to their friendship, straight to the Smithsonian, saying that it'll be in a museum, like
Yeah.
it's over. Like, I was like, is this her way of say, like, letting him go as a friend, or like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just like my final note is ends on a weird note, dot dot dot. It seemed like they were sort of, I mean, much like the sincerity in the conversation, it seemed like they were sort of like building back towards something positive, but then it got too scary and they pulled away. And then she sort of ends by saying, well, I guess I'll just keep pulling away. But considering we have many, many more episodes that presumably involve them both, I suspect they may drift back together.
Yeah, it would be crazy if 4 episodes in, they're like, and now these people aren't friends anymore. Goodbye. That's the end.
Yeah. Good. We did it, guys.
So that's the end of it. And we, I don't know, leave in a weird place.
Yeah. It was a weird note to end on.
So should we ask the titular question?
Yes, I think so.
Whose creek is it?
I think that's the best one we've done. We are getting better at this. I can start because I think it's pretty obvious. For me, it was Dawson's Creek.
It was Dawson's Creek.
It was Dawson's Creek this episode. And yeah, I've just found myself, even when I was frustrated with him, if I'm honest with myself, also like empathizing with him. Mm-hmm. And just, it's all sort of revolving around him, even though there's this continuation of the student-teacher relationship. It's really about Dawson.
I agree. It was Dawson's Creek this episode.
Mm-hmm. And they're just passing that deed back and forth. Is there a deed? Do you own a creek? I don't know. We live in California. We can't afford to own anything.
All right. Well, next episode is titled Hurricane. So we'll see what that means. Seems like maybe some bad stuff's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's going to work on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Like there might be also an actual storm in the weather.
Sounds possible. They are on the East Coast.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll find out soon enough.